I'm 90 years old. It is a strange thing to say out loud. When you say it, you expect to feel a sense of accomplishment, like reaching the summit of a very high mountain. But sitting here in this chair, looking out at a garden I can no longer tend to, I don't feel like I'm standing on a peak. I feel like I'm standing in a room where the lights are slowly being turned off, one by one. I have been sitting with a specific thought for the last few months. It wakes me up at 4 in the morning. It sits with me while I drink my coffee. It is a truth that took me 9 decades to understand, and the tragedy is that I only understood it when I no longer had the power to act on it. I want to tell you about it. I don't want to sell you anything. I don't want to give you 5 steps to a better life. I just want to tell you what I got wrong, in the hopes that maybe, just maybe, you can get it right while your legs are still strong enough to carry you where you need to go. The truth is simply this. I spent my entire life preparing for a future that when it finally arrived, I didn't want. I lived my life on a deferred payment plan. I thought happiness, connection, and peace were rewards. I thought they were things you earned after you had suffered enough, worked hard enough, and sacrificed enough. I treated my life like a waiting room. I was always waiting for the real part to begin. When I was in my 30s, I was a man possessed. I had a young wife, Eleanor, and 2 small boys. I looked at them, and I felt this terrifying weight on my chest. I felt that I needed to protect them. I needed to build a fortress of money and security around them so that nothing bad could ever touch them. That feels like a noble thought, doesn't it? It feels like what a good father and a good husband does. So I went to work. I don't just mean I did my job. I mean I gave my soul to the concept of more. I was an architect. I designed office buildings, tall glass structures that reflected the sky. I was good at it. I was very good at it. And because I was good, I was busy. I remember a Tuesday evening in 1974. My oldest son, David, was 7. He came into the study where I was drafting. He held up a plastic model of a plane he had built. It was glued together messily, paint smeared on the wings. He was so proud. He wanted me to come outside and fly it with him. I didn't even look up from the desk. I can see the back of my own hand now, holding the pen, hovering over the blueprint. I told him, "Not now, Davy. Daddy is building something important. We'll do it on the weekend." I didn't yell. I wasn't mean. I was just unavailable. I was reasonable. It was a Tuesday. People work on Tuesdays. The weekend was for playing. That was the deal I made with myself. But the weekend came, and it rained, or I was too tired, or there was a client dinner, and the plane sat on his dresser. Eventually, it got broken. I don't remember how. I just remember finding it in the trash bin a few weeks later. That moment by itself didn't ruin anything. One rejected invitation doesn't break a childhood, but life isn't made of big moments. It's made of a million small ones. And I repeated that Tuesday evening 1,000 times over 20 years. Not now. After this project is done. When I get the promotion. When the house is paid off. I convinced myself that I was doing it for them. That was the great lie. I told myself that my absence was a form of love. I thought, I am sacrificing my time with you now so that I can give you a better life later. I didn't realize that they didn't want a better life. They wanted me. Eleanor was patient. She was a saint, really. She never screamed. She never threw plates. She just adjusted. That's the most painful part to look back on. She didn't fight me for my time. She just learned to live without it. She built a routine that didn't include me. She had her garden. She had her books. She had her friends. I would come home late, the house dark, and I would feel a sense of pride. Look at this house, I'd think. Look at the comfort I have provided. I felt like a king returning to his castle. I didn't notice that the queen sleeping upstairs was a stranger. I remember when I turned 50. I felt like I was in the prime of my career. I was making more money than I ever thought possible. We took a trip to Italy, a trip I had promised Eleanor for 10 years. Finally, we were there. We were sitting in a cafe in Florence. It was beautiful. The light was golden, exactly like the paintings. I looked at Eleanor across the table. She was smiling, sipping her wine, but there was a distance in her eyes. I tried to make conversation. I talked about the architecture of the cathedral we had seen. I talked about the food. She listened, she nodded, but then she said something that stopped my heart. She said pleasantly, "It's nice to have you here, Robert. It's almost like we're dating again." She meant it as a joke, I think, but it revealed the canyon between us. We weren't partners. We were two people who shared a mailing address and a bank account. I realized in that moment that I didn't know what she worried about at 3 a.m. I didn't know what book she was reading. I didn't know who her best friend was anymore. I had been so busy building the house that I had forgotten to live in it. But even then, I didn't stop. I thought, well, now I need to secure our retirement. Just 5 more years of the grind, and then we will really connect. Then I'll be the husband she deserves. It's always then, it's never now. The turning point wasn't a movie moment. It wasn't a heart attack or a bankruptcy. It was just silence. I retired at 68. I walked out of my firm for the last time. I had the plaque. I had the portfolio. I had the savings account that was the envy of my friends. I went home, ready to start the second act of my life. I was ready to be the husband and father I had promised to be. 3 months later, Eleanor had a stroke. It was a Tuesday, just like the day I didn't fly the plane. She was in the kitchen, and then she was on the floor. She lived for 2 more years, but she wasn't the Eleanor I knew. She couldn't speak much. She couldn't travel. She couldn't walk through the gardens we had planned to visit. I became her nurse. I fed her. I washed her. I sat by her bed and held her hand. And in those long, quiet afternoons, sitting by her bedside, the full weight of my choices crashed down on me. I looked at her frail hand in mine, and I looked at the expensive watch on my wrist, a retirement gift to myself. I would have traded that watch, and the house, and every building I ever designed for just one of those Tuesdays I spent at the office. I wanted to tell her about my day. I wanted to ask her what she thought about the news. I wanted to fly the damn plane. But you cannot buy time back. That is the one currency that has no exchange rate. She died in her sleep. And the silence she left behind was louder than any construction site I had ever stood on. Now I am 90. My sons are grown. David is 63. He is a good man. He is successful. He calls me every Sunday at 10 a.m. It is a scheduled call. He asks how my health is. I ask how his job is. We speak for 10 minutes. He is dutiful. He respects me. But he doesn't know me. And I don't know him. When I try to deepen the conversation, when I try to talk about feelings or regrets, he gets uncomfortable. He makes a joke or changes the subject. I realized recently that he is treating me exactly the way I taught him to. Keep it efficient. Keep it surface level. Don't let emotions get in the way of the schedule. I taught him that love is providing things. So he sends me expensive gifts for Christmas. He pays for the best doctors. But he doesn't visit just to sit. He doesn't come over just to have coffee and watch the birds. He's too busy. He's building his own fortress. I see him making the same mistakes I did, and I don't know how to stop him. I told him once, "David, don't work so hard. Go home to your wife." He just laughed and said, "I will, Dad. Just got to get through this quarter. Then things will calm down." They never calm down. That's the trick. The world will always ask for more of you. The inbox is never empty. The projects are never done. If you wait for things to calm down before you start living, you will run out of time before you run out of work. This is the hard truth I want you to hear. You are replaceable at work. I don't care how important you think you are. I was the lead architect. I thought the firm would crumble without me. You know what happened when I retired? They hired a guy named Steve. He was 30 years younger and cheaper. The buildings kept going up. The clients didn't even notice I was gone. But you are not replaceable at home. To your partner, to your children, to your friends, you are the only version of you that exists. There is no hiring a new dad. There is no promoting a new husband. When you are gone from there, you are just gone. I sit here in this big house, the house I worked so hard to pay for, and it is mostly empty. The rooms echo. The furniture is covered in dust because I don't use it. I have the security I wanted. I have the money. I can afford anything I want, except the thing I actually need. I am lonely, and it is a loneliness I earned. I built it, brick by brick, by saying, "Not now," for 40 years. If I could go back, I wouldn't stop working. I know we need to eat. I know we need to pay bills. I'm not saying you should be irresponsible, but I would have gone home at 5:30. I would have left the blueprints on the desk. I would have said yes to the plastic plane. I would have taken Eleanor to Italy when we were broke and sleeping in hostels, rather than waiting until we could afford the 5-star hotel when we were too tired to enjoy it. I would have realized that the middle part of life, the messy, loud, exhausting part where you're raising kids and trying to keep the lights on, that wasn't the obstacle to happiness. That was the happiness. That was the life. I spent so much time trying to rush through the chaotic years to get to the peaceful years. Now I have peace. I have total, absolute quiet, and I hate it. I look at old photographs now. There is one of me and the boys at a beach. I look fit. I look tanned. I'm smiling. But I remember that day. I remember that I spent half of it looking for a payphone to call the office. I remember being annoyed that the sand was getting in our lunch. I was physically there, but my mind was 300 miles away. I want to reach into that photo and shake that young man. I want to scream at him, "Look at them! Look at your wife's legs! Look at your son's laugh! The ocean is right there. The sun is warm. This is it. This is the whole point." But he can't hear me. He's too worried about a deadline that no one remembers 50 years later. I am telling you this because you can still hear me. You might be sitting there right now, thinking that you're doing it for them. You might be thinking that one day you'll make it up to them. You might be thinking that you have time. You don't. Time is not a renewable resource. It is slipping through your fingers while you are reading this. Don't let your life be a list of things you're going to do later. Don't let your love be a promise you keep breaking. Don't let your family learn to live without you while you are still alive. Go home. If you have a partner, look at them. Really look at them. Not as a roommate who helps with the chores, but as the person you chose. Ask them a question you don't know the answer to. If you have children, get on the floor. It hurts your knees. I know. Do it anyway. Build the block tower. Draw the picture. Listen to the story that goes on for too long and makes no sense. If you have a friend you haven't called in 6 months because you're busy, pick up the phone. The work will be there tomorrow. The friend might not be. I am 90 years old. I am tired. My hands shake when I write. My eyes aren't what they used to be. I am coming to the end of my story. There are no more chapters for me to write. There are no more chances to fix the plot. The ink is dry, but your pen is still moving. You are still in the thick of it. You can still change the ending. Don't be like me. Don't be the man who succeeded at everything that didn't matter and failed at the only thing that did. Don't wait until the chair is empty to realize how much you loved the person sitting in it. It's getting dark here now. The shadows are stretching across the floor. I think I'll go make a cup of tea. I'll sit by the window and think of Eleanor. I hope you have someone to sit with. If you do, hold their hand. Don't let go. Take it from an old man who knows. The work can wait. The love cannot. That's all I have to say.